So I've been catching up with my leisure reading, and I have been thinking long and hard about how it's been said that if you have dual modality learning, in other words, let's say you're reading a book, being able to listen along with reading at the same time really helps to improve your understanding of the material. And also, if you're learning a new language, helps you to better understand the language both in spoken and print form. We can see how this works here. This is from Bookshare's web reader. Um, for the this text here, for the time being, however, all the way up to the end of the sentence here, that's highlighted because that's where that's where focus is currently. As far as the overall sentence, the focus is going by sentence. I usually have it set to paragraph because I use the service. I use Bookshare.org myself. And you notice the word legs is in bright blue. That's where the electronic speech is for Bookshare's books. I personally use an app called VoiceStream Reader. We see the same thing again. In this case, it highlights each line as it goes along, and the word that's being spoken is highlighted in bright yellow. This sort of magenta highlight here is actually a really nice feature. You can highlight your text and you can copy and define. It's just really, really, really nice. In fact, I've used the defining feature of Voice Reader with my Bookshare books so much that I don't see myself going back to a dedicated player. I honestly don't. Because I can just tap on a word, like let's say I don't know what the word view means, I can tap on the word views and have it defined on the spot, and I can double tap on a certain word and have it start to read from there. It's just a wonderful experience. Bookshare as a service is meant for people with disabilities. We go through here, so who qualifies? Myself, because I have a vision impairment. Anybody with a physical disability, and a learning disability qualifies, assuming that you have print. You have the learning disability impacts your ability to read print, such as those with dyslexia. There are individual memberships available for $50 annually. Students are free. And you're probably thinking, well, why all the red tape? Well, there's a reason for that. Current copyright law requires texts to be reproduced in a specialized format in order to get this it was essentially the $50 a month helps to pay the people that are administrators at Bookshare and people who scan. You can also scan as an individual and get credits towards your membership if you're able to do that. But the books in Bookshare are scanned. They are literally torn up and scanned into this electronic format that you see here, that you can read on the web or on dedicated hardware or software. Now, the reason they have the restrictions, again, because of copyright law, is because of the publishers. The publishers, obviously, they don't want people stealing their work, although my personal views is that the author should have 100% control, not necessarily the publisher, but that's a whole other debate. But in terms of the way things are today, the publishers don't want people stealing their work, and as a result, and yet at the same time, they don't want to deny people access to the work, and people with disabilities fall under a very special umbrella in the sense that you can get the work assuming you qualify for it. And in Bookshare's case, $50 a year. There are other services that are free. But what I like about Bookshare is the dual modality approach that I talked about earlier. If you don't have a disability, the closest thing that I know of is this Kindle immersion reading, as well as this WhisperSync for voice. In other words, you can listen to an Audible book, pause, go back into your Kindle book and it'll continue where you left off. In order for that to work, and in order for immersion reading to work, which gives you all of the features of Bookshare, which is to say we get the improved understanding with dual sensory reading, like I showed you before, we get speech and audio. And what does that look like in real time? Well, I'm going to show you by having this web page in front of you read back to you.
Retrieving is Bookshare for me? Who qualifies? What does it cost? Open up the world of reading. Bookshare, registered mark, opens up the world of reading for people with print disability.
So you see, as we go along here, the voice's name is Alex. As Alex is reading along, you see the word that he's physically reading is highlighted.
Bookshare, registered mark, opens up the world of reading for people with print disabilities. If you cannot read traditional print books because of a visual impairment, physical disability, or severe learning disability, Bookshare can help.
And you can see that we're highlighting each sentence or paragraph that goes along, and so you can see exactly where we are. We've got nice high contrast fonts, very easy to pick out of a crowd.
Our books are accessible, which means you can read our books many different ways.
So this is what apps like VoiceStream and Bookshare Web Reader can do. And we were talking about Amazon's immersion reading. Immersion reading, same thing. It goes along and it reads to you as you read along with it. Now, what is the difference? Well, Kindle's immersion reading, like I said, it provides all of that I just talked about, except the difference between Bookshare and the immersion reading from Amazon, aside from the membership requirements, because with Amazon anybody can join, is you get professional narrating with Amazon, you get electronic speech with the Bookshare, and the reason is, again, they take the book, they scan it in, and it really helps to. The real benefit of that is you don't have to worry about hiring a professional narrator and recording the book, which takes significantly more time. In a lot of cases, in terms of accessible literature, Bookshare can often have a book out considerably sooner than the National Library Service or Learning Ally. They can have it right up there with Amazon, actually. Now, Amazon does provide accessibility with its Kindle app, but the problem is, we saw just a moment ago, must have closed the window, how the highlighting, see here, how the highlighting really benefits people. You can follow along with the electronic voice. Kindle's default app does not allow this to happen. If you use a screen access software package, I have noticed that VoiceOver, for instance, the cursor does not follow what's being read, and I cannot keep up. It's just a complete mess compared to something like Bookshare or immersion reading. Now, immersion reading anybody can use. Now, Bookshare was $50 a year, but you had to have a disability. I personally feel that dual modality approaches can benefit everyone when it comes to reading and writing. In other words, you write something, you can have it read back to you with electronic speech, see how it sounds. That is just incredibly useful, because perhaps you can pick up on a correction in your paper that you didn't catch, leaving your instructor free to go over the quality of the content versus the way it was written grammatically. Now, in order for immersion reading to work, on Amazon's side, you have to have the Kindle copy of the book, which is $13, but then you also have to have the electronic copy of the book. Now, there are multiple ways to do this. You can have a membership for $15 a month, but what... Confuses me is this right here. It says $15 a month thereafter for your choice of one new book per month. Now I'm confused. I don't know if that means you can only you can only get one new book a month for free and you have to buy the rest. Which if that's the case, then I'll respect that. You know, it's obviously Amazon's. But if you don't have a membership and you want to buy the book now, it's $35. $35 for the Amazon Audible copy plus $13 for the Kindle copy. That is $48 for one book. In order to get the same kinds of benefits for the masses that Bookshare offers for people with disabilities. I think that Amazon has the right idea, but I think that if they went with, say, again, U.S. students, for Bookshare, U.S. students are free, individuals are $50 annually, organizations are a whole other deal. But if you are, for instance, in a classroom and you're a teacher and you want to buy these books and you want to use the Kindle immersion system, I don't know what they offer for organizations, but for individuals, I can see Amazon being very expensive because $35 for one book plus $12 for a second copy of the same book just to have a dual modality reading approach for this immersion reading. I honestly think that's a jip. But I think Amazon's got the right idea, but if they need to work out their pricing. But overall, I think immersion reading and in this digital age, it's definitely a plus to have a dual sensory approach. I could only see it increasing the literacy rate of students and of individuals. I know that what I've been reading, I've been able to get a lot more out of it by undergoing that dual modality approach, which I think, again, as an example,
Retrieving is Bookshare for me? Who qualifies? What does it cost? Open up the world of reading.
having this kind of approach to gaining access to literature is a real plus in my book. I think that if Amazon can work out the pricing, this could be the future of textbooks in the classroom. Maybe if somebody were to come up with a
Bookshare offers the world's largest
with a collection of this specifically for the classroom, for higher education, it would be a really great system. But I'd like to hear your thoughts. Thank you for watching. Comments are welcome, and have a nice day.